Well, this isn't cool. What's up, adventure riders? Got a little damage to report here. Don't know how this happened. It wasn't from a crash. It must have been a stress fracture from rough terrain.
So all I had was a strap from REI. I know I should be carrying baling wire and zip ties and everything. I don't, but somehow I didn't have all the stuff with me, of course, right? And so I had a one strap from REI, and I was able to kind of sandwich it in on this bolt right here, and that got me home. So speaking of not having what I need, I think my next order of business is going to put some supplies in these outer fenders here. So underneath, I think I'm going to stick baling wire, zip ties, and all of the necessary items right inside there, that little pocket. Okay, here we're checking out the broken piece. I think likely, I don't know, just some kind of stress. You know, that metal doesn't look great. I mean, I don't see any rust, but it doesn't look great. Like it was a weak point anyways. I think the idea is I'm just gonna weld it right back where it was.
So here I'm taking the cover off of the ECU. Disconnect the ECU because it's a sensitive electronic piece, and I don't want there to be any chance of a backfeed from the welder. Now here we're taking the muffler back off after test fitting it so that we can access the link pipe that links the header to the muffler. The bracket is broken on that link pipe and needs to be welded back. More to come on the metal type of that link pipe. Apparently, there's an exhaust gasket missing, as we'll see here in the next photo. couldn't get the lower clamp off, so to avoid further frustration, I just concede to go ahead and drop a skid plate. The rear bolts were frozen, um, and I know that I've Loctited them in. I'm trying to be careful with the heat because they are mounted on rubber isolators. As you'll see here, it's not going to budge, and the heat that I put on it is not nearly enough, especially since the aluminum skid plate acts
Mm.
as a heat diffuser. It needs quite a bit more heat. Heat coming up. This clip shows the exhaust gasket that was supposed to be on the upper portion as well. There's plenty of commentary around the interwebs, but it's insane how close the exhaust pipe is to the oil pan, and as a matter of fact, it's touching. Link pipe in hand. At first glance, it looks like titanium. I did post this on a Facebook group, and one wise person called it out as stainless steel. At this point, I still think that the link pipe is titanium, and I do not have a TIG welder. I have a MIG with steel and aluminum capabilities, but I cannot weld titanium or stainless at this point. So I decided to venture on and see if I can find this leak that apparently has been getting worse.
Well, as we can see, the reservoir is empty. It's starting to get low, but it's still in view.
So here I'm looking for a way to pressurize the radiator. And then I noticed that this cap is likely a one-way valve with some kind of pressure release. So I'm just testing this at this point. Don't roast me, but I know that I'm way over pressurizing the system at this point. Now we're going to put the motorcycle in what I quote unquote call service mode. And props to the Power Parts skid plate because since now the skid plate is not attached to the tank, you can lift the tank off without doing a whole lot of disassembly. The only real disassembly is right here where you have to remove the gas cap in order to get to the vent lines. The vent lines must be removed so that there's slack in the system and you can raise the tank. Note that there's only 3 bolts that are necessary to remove the gas cap instead of 6. And just like that, you can raise the tank up and set it backwards so you can access the upper part of the engine. Note here that I did not disconnect any fuel service items such as the fuel pump or fuel gauge or the fuel crosslink pipe. Problem identified. I sprayed some soapy water on the radiator, and as you can see, it's bubbling in 2 spots right there. Now note that the cap is still holding pressure, so the little bit of air pressure that I put in the radiator system is what's causing the bubbling.